Friday. We've got a tropical beer hug from Goose Island and 9.9%. I found this at our friendly neighborhood Sefco that just opened up.
Really?
$3.
Were they polite to you? Because they're rude to me.
No, I got a little Monopoly dollar for some reason. I paid and the lady gave me a little Monopoly dollar and I was like, "What's this for?" And she goes, "That's your change." It's like, I paid on my debit card. And I said, "What is this for?" And she goes, "That's your change." That's all she said.
Cool.
But it's an IPA. Everyone knows Goose Island.
Christmas tree.
Maybe.
Let's see. Oh,
That's different. It's not a Christmas tree.
that's not bad.
That is a tropical beer hug.
Yeah. So, have you watched any of Boba Fett?
Yes.
Okay.
Zane loves it. I love it.
The
The Book of Boba Fett on Disney Plus.
Yes. Have you seen the side-by-side video of Patton Oswalt's
Oh, the whole thing going
filibuster?
back. You talking about when they show Boba as a kid in the arena?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. So, on the show Parks and Recreation, Patton Oswalt did a filibuster, and he spent, quote-unquote, hours, I guess, in the show doing this filibuster, and it was his whole idea, and it was all ad-lib.
Okay.
Of how they could do a crossover now that Disney owns Star Wars and Marvel. They could do a crossover between the two. And one of them is, he starts off by saying, he's like, we start off with the twin sons of Tatooine, and we drop down to the Sarlacc pit, where we see the gloved gauntlet hand of Boba Fett reach out of the sand and
Which
pull
they did
him
that,
up.
yeah.
And it's exactly the whole scene.
Yeah.
And I was just like, Jon Favreau, that's awesome, sir.
Yes. But you know, it was an actual comic book too, though, right?
Yes.
So it's probably from that.
Well, but it was just kind of funny to see
But
that.
what do you
about that.
think?
That's good. I like that.
I do too. Tropical beer hug. Okay, what do we got, Spence?
We've got Modelo Chelada Pina Picante. It's
Don't have anything to drink yet.
refreshing flavors of pineapple and chili peppers. Trying to see what the...
It's probably like a 5% usually. Enchiladas are a 4%.
This one's a no percent.
Okay, well, don't worry about it. When I put it into the old
Oh, 3.5%.
3.5, yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead. Oh, it's not red like usually. Usually enchilada's a nice red. You can smell the pineapple.
Yeah.
I don't taste the enchilada part of that. I taste the pineapple.
I'm getting a little bit of the chili. Kind
Are you?
of. Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm missing that.
It's not
The very back.
spicy. It's just you can kind of get that little hint of it. It's just...
It's the hint. Thank you very much. Okay, as we delve into the world of Unicron, introducing Spencer to my favorite Thai beer, Singha. Now, I first discovered this when my wife, well, she was my girlfriend at the time, took us to this local place. This was a Thai place called Gus's Corona Cafe. Fell in love with their food, fell in love with this beer, this Thai beer, Singha.
That's cool. By royal permission.
Mm-hmm. That's the most popular Thai beer. It's a very light beer. It's very easy to drink. I think it's like 4% maybe. Oh, 5%. Really small on the bottom right there.
Well, I was looking at... It expires, and it's a bunch of letters.
Yes. You have to know the code. If you enter the code on the internet, you'll win something. Expired beer.
Cool.
I still have the expired beer out there. We still have 2 Dos Equis. It's now 13 or 14 years old. I don't think we'll stomach them.
That'll be on a special episode.
So, to your first Thai beer, I think, or maybe your second.
First. That's good.
Okay. Spencer.
Howdy, howdy. Got Old Elephant Foot IPA.
Looks like it's some of that. I don't know if those are hops for the IPA or. It smells a little skunky.
And we got a
From Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay Brewing Company. Excuse me.
TBBC.
It's a 7%.
I'm sure.
Apparently, we're lightweights because Mrs. Simon, she's already been hitting the shot glass.
Mrs. Simon.
Oh, now we found shoes. It's over.
You obviously taste it more than I do.
Ooh, that has some Christmas tree that kicks you in the end.
I think I must be coming. I must be Christmas tree immune by now. Only so many Christmas trees can take me down.
Did you like the shoes more than the toy?
So,
I got a little bit after we sit there and drink it for what I'm sure I'm going to taste it. So what?
2022.
2022.
It's already trash.
That's already trash. Why?
Betty White,
Betty White was 2021.
R.I.P. 2022 came early and
Sidney
assassinated her.
Poitier died
Sidney
today.
Poitier died today. I mean,
That sucks. One of the greatest actors of our lifetime.
R.I.P.
Yeah, Betty White. I think she was just trying to take 2021 out. On the last day, she was strangling it down, saying, "No more." That's what I think.
And then 2022 came and...
It'll be
So,
okay.
Are you sure about that?
We'll be alive. I hate to say this. We'll be alive when our great actors pass away. When Brad Pitt passed away, we'll probably still be alive. It's just the way of actors, groups. We'll see them all come and go.
I find that interesting. It's actually kind of a good conversation to bring up. Because I always look at, you watch a movie, and it's like, you see an actor who's been in maybe like 1 or 2 movies, and I kind of look at them like, are they going to be the next, like, great big actor who's like around forever, or is this it for them? And it's kind of interesting to look at and go, where are they going to go? So
It is. Whatever happened to Taylor Kitsch?
who?
Taylor Kitsch. He was Gambit in Wolverine. They got him in the Mars movie, the Disney made. Really, Taylor Kitsch. He was on Friday Night Lights. Wow.
1 second, folks. I gotta educate myself.
You don't remember Wolverine, first Wolverine movie? You don't remember Gambit they had
I
in?
don't. You know what's bad about that is
The Untamed Heart or something. He was in something Heart. When the AIDS epidemic broke out, he was really good actually in that. They tried to push him a lot.
how do you spell his last name?
Kitsch. You got Taylor spelled right?
Oh, I got Tyler.
Taylor. Taylo. Wow. Can you believe this
There he
guy?
is. Oh wait, he does look kind of familiar. Oh,
Oh!
John Carter.
That's what I was saying of Mars.
Yeah.
Mars. I never saw
I
John
was
Carter
thinking
Mars.
when you said Mars, I was thinking like
All the other Mars movies
Red
that have
Planet and all that
I
other
actually
stuff.
liked Red Planet.
Yeah, Red Planet.
That was Val Kilmer, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The Ghosts of
But
Mars, and I like all of those.
Didn't even think about him as being Gambit because I'm still waiting. I don't know why, but I'm still waiting.
They were supposed to come out with a full length movie with him, and it kind of fell through
Well-
when the Mars movie fell through. Everything fell through.
So I heard it was going to be what's his name, Magic Mike.
Channing.
Channing Tatum was supposed to be
Is it Channing Tatum or Tatum Channing?
Channing Tatum.
It's one of those front and back. Like there's David Keith and Keith David,
Yeah.
but they're two separate actors.
Yeah.
So there should be another. If there's Channing Tatum, there should be somebody else come out as Tatum Channing.
Yeah.
So we'll get confused.
Well, it was like somebody I knew. They were like, this new movie's coming out with Taylor Lautner, and I'm like, who's she? And they're like,
Twilight.
yeah.
Come
Well,
on,
I
you
didn't
forgot?
watch Twilight. I watched the first one, and I was like, this is trash.
I still remember it because they were all wooden. That's when Pattinson broke out of the mold. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, he's actually good.
Yeah. Taylor Lautner tried.
He tried. He had like an action movie back in
And
the
it
day.
sucked.
But he tried. But Pattinson broke it.
Mm-hmm.
And, Batman's coming out finally. And he's going to show the world.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of good movies out there if you go back and look.
I I always forget he was in Harry Potter. He did a decent
I
job
didn't
in
know.
there.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, he was in Harry Potter. He did a decent job. But
You saw Tenet, did you?
no,
You
haven't
need to see
seen that
Tenet. He's in that. He's a real good job in
yet.
Tenet.
Okay.
With John David Washington, Denzel's son. John David Washington, I think is his name. He's really good in it. Yeah, when you come see the next generation of actors, I can't wait. Because Ice Cube's son has been around. You know.
I didn't know that.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know it was.
You've seen Straight Outta Compton, haven't you?
No.
Oh, his son plays him.
Oh.
That's what's about. Yeah, but he's had some success. But yeah, I still don't know why the wooden actress from Twilight. She's pretty, but she's pretty wooden.
I did see a movie that I liked her in.
Really?
Yes. It's on Netflix. It's.
He's pulling up the Netflix.
I gotta. Yeah. It was good, but not good enough to remember the name. No, it was a good movie. What's her
But
name?
Old Elephant Foot. While he looks that up, Old Elephant Foot IPA.
Bad when you're talking about how many places you're because that's got to do it quite a bit. It is.
I'm just finishing this because he's gonna have hard enough time choking down the Christmas tree there.
I didn't pay this time because
Swear it's
Kristen
not that
Stewart?
old. Yeah, I swear it's not that old. Where is it? It was. It's a Christmas kind of rom-com kind of thing.
Okay. Well, I'd look it up on my phone, but we're using it to video.
Is that it?
I did ask my wife for a GoPro. So maybe I'll get
Happiest season.
Happiest season. She's actually good in that.
Yeah, she's dating this girl. The girl hasn't come out to her parents yet. They go to her girlfriend's house for Christmas.
Yeah.
And the girl's dad is running for like Senate or something like that. And so she's like, can't have this scandal right now. I don't want to have that.
I always think that nowadays that people still talk about scandals. Like, why is it a scandal?
Yeah. And when she's like, why won't you? She's like, I will. Just give me time. She's like, okay. And it kind of comes to a head. And she's like, look, you're either with me and this is out in the open or we're done. And it's a good movie. I like it.
There was a movie I watched. It was based in World War II called Summerland, and I covered it in my podcast. But me and Wendy, I saw it. It was on HBO, and I taped it. It's called Summerland though, and it was based in World War II, back when you didn't talk about same-sex couples,
Yeah.
And it was two women who fell in love, and then one of the ladies had to make a choice, and she chose to marry a guy, and they broke up and everything. And so during World War II, the other one is living by herself. She's a writer, and she writes by the seashore. And all the people in the village think she's a grumpy woman, but she doesn't like anybody. But she's just so into writing. You know what I'm saying? She lives in her imagination. And one day, I didn't know this happened back in World War II, but the state, England, came in and said, because of the war efforts, the father's at war, the woman's like this, you're taking care of this child. And they could assign children to people. This is part of being a British citizen.
Yeah.
And so she got this child, and she didn't want to raise a child. And the child was like 10, I think. And she eventually really fell for this child, raising a child and everything. And then come to find out afterwards when he gets a note saying his father died, she doesn't want to tell him because it was like his birthday. And the other people knew about it. The other children, and they said they told him, and he didn't know, so it kind of ruined his birthday. And he went running. He got on a train, went to London, goes to their house. The house is blown up, so he thinks his mom's dead too. He hears about this because there's still the bombing of London going on back in World War II.
Yeah.
And all this happens, and she comes to find out when they looking at pictures that the woman is the woman she fell in love with. And that's why the child was sent, because she knew that she would take care of him.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the story, she is alive, and they end up growing old together. And he's grown up and everything, and as a family as them. It's just a really interesting movie because you don't think about a lot of these situations.
Yeah.
Especially in World War II. And that's what I'm saying is, it's in this day and age, it shouldn't be a scandal to come out.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to come out. Parents should be more understanding, and it's like, people are people, and it doesn't matter, and it angers me when you hear oh, I'm disowning you. It's like, why? They're still your child.
Yeah.
You may not understand it. You can learn to understand it. Everything in life you can learn to understand.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then you're just a shitty human being.
Mm.
But to beer drinking and talking way too much.
Hell.
Krumbach hell.
He said.
It's a German beer. It is 5%.
From here, it looks like it.
I've already had one, but you haven't, so. We shall go to hell. Now, hell is a style of beer.
Just gonna start a new Reich or something.
Hopefully not. Though I do like playing the Wolfenstein games.
I've never played one.
Really?
Yeah.
I've got on the 360 and the Xbox One. You should try.
Well,
I'm a lot better than the old days before Doom, the original POV game, Wolfenstein. That was cheesy. But then they improved, made Doom, then they made Duke Nukem.
when I get a chance to play my games more than 5 minutes at a time,
5 minutes.
Now, you only get to play it 5 minutes at a time.
So what do you think of the Kronbach
that's
ahead?
not bad.
It's an easy beer,
Yeah.
Just be sponsored. Sponsor us. Somebody sponsor us. But we're gonna finish going to hell. Okay. Now I'm gonna treat Spencer to a Boatswain Hazy IPA, 6.1%.
Because I can see it, but
It's an IPA, so I'm gonna spoil you. It smells very Christmas tree.
I don't know if you can
That one hits you in the end too.
I guess I'm just getting not immune to them.
Oh god.
Well, anyway, my point of bringing Boatswain to the party, Boatswain is carried, I think it's exclusively in Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
And you can get a 6-pack of any Boatswain. They have the stout, they have IPAs, they have all. It's $6.99 a 6-pack
Oh,
for a decent beer. Just like they have Simpler Times, which is a 6-pack is $4.99. And they're all above 6%. So I love Trader Joe's.
we're getting a Aldi's soon. Let's check out their beer selection.
I'm tired of people talking about how great Aldi's is. I've been to 3 Aldi's and I have not been impressed.
I love Aldi's.
What's so good about them?
They have cheap shit, and it's good.
Have you compared them with Walmart?
Really?
That's like saying Dollar Tree is cheap. It's not cheaper than Walmart. Now it's not Dollar Tree anymore. It's a $1.25 tree. They went up in their prices.
I saved money, but a guy jerked off on my beef.
What?
Walmart.
I don't buy my meat from Walmart. I don't buy any meat from Walmart.
Where do you buy it from then?
Winn-Dixie or Publix. Because it tastes like crap at Walmart.
Yes.
But I'm saying the basic necessities. That's like saying Walmart
gotta
has
go-
the best beer.
You gotta.
They don't.
You gotta go through like.
They have cheap everything else.
Yeah. And you gotta wade through the damn people of Walmart to get through it.
But that's entertainment in itself.
It's not entertainment.
They have a whole website, peopleofwalmart.com.
When I gotta
Sponsor us.
when I gotta reach around like the dude.
You're all about the reach around.
When I gotta reach around the dude that's got like the brown like streak stain like stain on the outside of his pants to get like the cookies, I'm like, oh
Yeah, well, I usually reach
Oh.
around the guy with the brown turd stains.
I'm saving 12 cents on this right here.
Yeah, like
smells
the Dollar
12
Tree
cents.
is so much better.
Saving 12
The
cents.
Dollar Tree is so much better. No,
I like Aldi's. I'm sorry.
I will like all these better, being closer than I can try their meat. But everything.
Support it so it's not.
their selection of beef products. But the few times we visited other Aldi's, I wasn't impressed with their beer selection.
We looked at their wine, and I looked at their snacks. And that's why I was impressed. I'll have to look at their beer when they open up here.
We'll see.
I wasn't with you, sir. That's why I told you I'm not like a big drinker unless I'm like hanging out with you. So
I'm the alcoholic who influences people. I have a point in this universe. Hey, it's me and Spencer. What are we drinking now, Spencer? I think this is one I picked up from Trader Joe's over in Jacksonville when we were visiting the friendly IKEA.
we got a
Dang it. I can't taste it yet. So
Winter Ride Double Bock.
by 7.5% it says on the side.
Yeah.
He's got glasses and he's having a hard time reading.
Brewed and bottled by Joseph Brow Brewing Company, San Jose, California.
Yes.
Double backs back, alright.
And it's as dark as you can see. This is a double bock.
I'll be back.
I'll be double bock.
That's much better than the last one.
Because it's not an IPA.
It's not, yeah.
There's too many IPAs out. That's what I hate.
There's no Christmas tree in this one.
So it's going to be a little bit before we see another Marvel's movie, I think, or series.
We just
I
had.
know The Eternals is coming out on Disney Plus January
already
12th. January 12th.
Oh, Trainer 12?
Yes.
Oh, when I pull it up, because I've been watching Boba Fett. It keeps
Boba
saying
Fett?
Boba Fett.
Do you
Boba.
have Boba tea or Boba tea?
Whatever, dude. Anyways, it keeps saying Eternals, so I'm like, oh, I need to watch that. So I haven't seen that it's actually January 12th.
January 12th.
So I need to watch that and Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi is awesome.
Yeah.
Stay for
So-
the after credits.
Well, I've noticed like a lot of people, they're like, they hyped up
Which
Eternals, and it was trash. And then
I think
they,
that'll be good.
And they were like, oh, Shang-Chi's going to be trash. And they're like, oh, actually, it's pretty damn decent. So,
And Spider-Man, we're trying. I don't know if you've seen the new Spider-Man yet. We're trying to see it Saturday. Is what we're trying to do in the afternoon.
it's amazing, sir.
Amazing Spider-Man. That's good. I've seen enough things. I don't want to spoil it for the other two. Because Twitter spoils everything.
Yes. So I will say, no spoilers. Don't spoil. Well, because you've been on Twitter, you know.
I don't want to know.
No, you know who's in it though.
Yes, I didn't want to know that though.
Yeah, but you know who's in it.
I don't want to know.
Well, here's the thing. So speculation is because of the
Yes,
success.
they're gonna try. Sony might go revisit a certain timeline, a certain
Yes.
actor to
Yes.
finish off his.
Yes.
I know. See, Twitter talks too fucking much.
I'm excited for that.
I'm excited too because we just went through Amazing Spider-Man 1
Mm-hmm.
with Zane, and he really liked it. I forgot how good it was.
Yeah.
And then I realized I don't have the second one. Now I got to go out and buy the second one.
It's the one thing I can say about all the Spider-Man movies. You know, we have 3 actors, but they've all been decent movies.
They all chant. Well, that goes with the Spider-Verse. So if you put the Spider-Verse,
Yes.
it's like every version of Spider-Man is good.
Yes.
And when they all fit, if you read the comic books and how they change to each series, they fit them perfectly.
Yeah. So, but there was a meme. It was pretty. I was laughing pretty hard at it. So, what would you say is the first MCU movie?
Blade.
So that's not what the meme. That's not what the meme was.
The meme
But yeah,
is,
you're going with it. But the meme was, it was like most people think Iron Man's the first
But
MCU.
it's Spider-Man.
It's Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire.
Yes.
So it's like, okay, cool, yeah. So hey,
But I can't wait for the new Blade too. But yeah, to
Yes.
me, that's the reason they got it, because like they tried the Punisher, the original Punisher, and then they redid the Punisher a second time.
Yeah.
With Thomas Jane, which was decent.
Yeah.
I like the Thomas Jane version. The Dolph Lundgren version was awful.
yeah.
It was very depressing.
You know, I never saw the what was it, Punisher Warzone or whatever.
I have it. It's actually really good.
It is?
Yes.
Okay. I like Thomas Jane, and when they came out with that, I was like, I'm not wasting my time. Like, they're just
Yeah.
going to bring in a new actor, so.
It was really good. It follows a dark time in the comic books, and it's really good.
Okay. Rumor is that, what's his name? Who was Punisher in Netflix?
Oh,
series?
John Bernthal?
Yes. He's coming back in
Yeah.
Armor Wars.
Did you watch Hawkeye?
Yes.
So, you know what got me about the whole Hawkeye series is when Hawkeye was coming out week to week. In the middle, I think it was after episode 2 or 3, Kevin Feige from Marvel came out and said, it was just before Spider-Man release, and they said,
Feige.
Feige. And they came out and he goes, Charlie Cox is our Daredevil. Which to me was like, there was a rumor he was going to be in Spider-Man. I was like, kind of confirming. But freaking Vincent D'Onofrio said on Twitter, he's like, congratulations, it's awesome, I'm glad to see you. And he said nothing else. He was congratulating Charlie Cox. And then when Hawkeye popped, you're like, you fuckhead, you knew you were in Hawkeye.
Yeah.
But that's how professional he was.
Yeah.
He because like with Tom Holland, Tom spoiled a couple of things before this one. He hasn't spoiled shit for this one. So, which is awesome.
Yeah. So, like I said, he's supposed to come back. There's a rumor that, I'm really bad with names. I apologize. The guy from Walking Dead. The one with the crossbow.
Oh, yes. Norman?
Norman Reedus.
Yes, Norman Reedus.
That he's going to be Ghost Rider.
That'd be awesome. I think
Yeah.
he would be a good Ghost Rider.
Yeah, so...
But which one is the question?
Yeah.
So, I'm going to throw out something he probably doesn't even read. You know what my favorite Ghost Rider story is? Ghost Rider 2099.
I have seen Ghost Rider, or not Ghost Rider, but I've done a dabble into like Spider-Man 2099, but none of the other.
Ghost Rider 29 was different than all the others. It was drawn by Chris Bacalo, which is fantastic. Did you ever read Generation X?
No.
He's the one who started off Generation X. You can follow him on Twitter. He's like the nicest guy. But he did Ghost Rider 2099. And instead of all the other ones were the Spirits of Vengeance. Ghost Rider 29 is so underrated. It's beautifully drawn. But it's about basically a program that gets infiltrated by the Spirits of Vengeance.
Okay.
Because it's a robot, and the Spirits of Vengeance finds a purpose to follow the robot, so it's a totally robotic. It's not even human at all. And it's beautiful artwork. I have to pull it out of the shadows.
I got to go over to our local comic book shop is TBS. I want to go over there and see if they've got the, I don't know if you've followed any of the, it's the prehistoric, Avengers.
Prehistoric?
Yes.
Oh.
It's the first
Like Beast
heroes.
Wars of the Transformers?
Basically, but it's like Ghost Rider, like the Spirit of Vengeance. It takes over this guy, and his vehicle is a mammoth, and it's like a mammoth on fire. And
if they do that, they should do one of Black Panther, because the spirit of the Black Panther. Have you seen it's through the tribes?
I think Black Panther's in there. I can't recall, but instead of Thor, it's Odin.
Oh yeah, because Odin was younger.
Yeah, and then there's a couple other ones. There's a T-Rex that gets taken over by, I want to say it was Phoenix Force.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, and then there's another character that's been taken over by one of the other cosmic entities, and they're trying to stop something, but they all come together, and it seems pretty interesting.
That's where I think DC has dropped the ball, because they have such a huge library to draw from, and they're holding themselves up on Batman films.
Well, so you say that, but one of the films that he keeps going back and forth. They're going to do a film, they're going to do a TV show, it's going to be on HBO Max.
Green Lantern Corps?
No.
Okay.
Blue Beetle.
Yes.
I cannot wait for that.
That would be fantastic, because
Yes.
I hope they bring with Blue Beetle, I hope they bring Booster Gold, because Booster Gold is one of my favorite DCU characters. Just like, I've really grown to love Aquaman since Jason Momoa has played him. I can't wait to see the second one. Shazam has been looking very good. The Batman looks very promising to
Yes.
me.
But I don't know if that's going to be part of the DC.
I don't know either.
EU or
That's the
whatever.
That's the whole problem is
They
they
got-
have these stories and they don't try to link them.
And then they got Flash coming out.
Yes, which is supposed to
And-
be break something in the whole DC. Supposedly, it's going to twist the Snyderverse
So,
out.
and then Ben Affleck says that his favorite scene from any Batman movie, he's already filmed it. He's playing in that scene.
Yeah.
But this is his last movie as Batman. So I don't know if maybe
in
they're
the
gonna.
Flash.
Yes.
So
So
I already know they got Michael Keaton coming in the
yeah.
Flash.
So I don't know if they're gonna twist that where they're gonna bring in somehow Robert Pattinson as
It'll be interesting to
Yeah.
see. I hope they don't spoil it. And if you're on Twitter, don't spoil fucking movies, people.
Yes. And Black Adam.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to that.
Oh yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see what's going on.
I'm
with
always
that.
a Rock fan.
Yeah.
He's a lovable guy.
Yeah. So we'll see what's going on with that. Which we need to do some celebrity drinks.
Celebrity drinks.
Yeah, like the Rock. He has a tequila.
Yeah. Have you seen Red Notice yet?
Yes.
And then you see
His tequila and
Ryan Reynolds'
his gin. Yeah.
Non-labels, just kind of hints.
Yes. Yeah. So, but I did like the movie though.
Oh yeah, it was
It
better
was-
than I thought it would
Yes.
be. Some
I-
people have downplayed it, but I was like, oh, that's actually kind of interesting.
My wife's in the other room, but I gotta say, Gal Gadot when she was in the Russian prison with the whole get up, I was like, oh.
Oh really? I was just
Yeah.
in the movie. I didn't care. Sorry.
I was like, oh, that's nice.
Well, yeah, she's always. That's a
But-
given.
But I did like so I'm kind of partial to the whole I know it's overused over and over again. Like the whole Nazi thing.
Yes.
That was a kind of a sorry spoilers, but that was kind of a cool twist. It was Nazi, vault in Venezuela.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
why. That's one thing I love about Hellboy is
Yeah.
the whole Nazi influence, and they tried to bring around the end of the world in
Yeah.
Hellboy. That's what I love about Hellboy. But I hope the third Wonder Woman movie is better than the second because I did not like the
I
second.
haven't seen the second one yet.
Okay,
Is
we'll
it-
see
is
it.
it-
It's worth it. It's worth seeing
Okay.
it. Then you make your own judgment. I'm never going to dissuade and say don't see it.
So the thing I had,
The original Wonder Woman was so good. I
It
think
was-
that's the problem.
it was good, but when I watched it, the only thing I could think of while I was watching it, again, really good movie, but I was like, okay, Captain America did World War II, so they were like, oh, let's do World War
World War
One.
II. Oh, one is that?
Yeah, it was World War One, and I was
Yeah.
like, okay, so they're kind of trying to go with this. It was still a good movie, but same time I was like,
Well, they could have gone Civil War. No, that would have been awful. That would have been awful. Let's be honest.
but I'm trying to think. So you said Marvel shows coming out.
We got Moon Knight coming out. We got She-Hulk coming out.
Yeah,
You got Miss Marvel coming out. I think all look promising.
yeah. One thing I did see, and I'm gonna have to go back and watch it, is I don't know if it was the spoilers, but the end credits scene from Spider-Man.
Oh, the Doctor Strange?
Yes, they
they do
previewed
that.
Doctor
Yeah.
Strange, but then there's also a trailer.
Yes.
One of the two, and I can't remember which one it is. If you're watching it, at some point when they show Wanda,
Yes.
behind her is a green kind of aura,
Okay.
and people are saying it is the same exact color as the doorways from the TVA. So they're saying that maybe the TVA will be
That would
involved.
be Kang.
Yeah,
Because the
so-
TVA is controlled by Kang.
Yeah, so
And then you've obviously in that same you've got the dark Doctor Strange from the What If series.
yes, which was awesome.
Yes.
I was like, when I saw that, I was like, oh.
I was geeking out. I
Yeah.
was like so it's gonna be an interesting year.
And then what kind of ticked me off though is they show off a character with the jacket and it's got a star, and I thought Captain Carter. They're gonna bring Captain Carter in this, but it's American Chavez, which hey, a new character, I'm fine with that. But I was expecting Captain Carter.
Yeah,
so,
Captain Carter is an awesome
Yeah.
character. But she's gonna be in every year of What If, from what I understand. So that'll be cool.
so they're calling him the Guardians of the Multiverse.
Hey,
So
why not?
hey, be interesting.
Yeah, can't wait for
they're also
into the Spider-Verse 2.
So the other speculation is maybe we're going to get Uatu in
Who's Uatu?
Uatu the Watcher
The Watcher.
from
That's his name is Uatu.
His name's Uatu. Yeah.
I just called him the Watcher. Yeah, Uatu. I was like Moana.
Yeah. But maybe he's going to be in Doctor Strange,
Oh,
in
really?
the Multiverse of Madness,
That'll be
which would be
interesting.
pretty cool. Yeah. So
I'm interested to see since Doctor Strange 2 is coming out. It's bringing back Sam Raimi back into the Marvel Universe as a director. I really wish that Scott Derrickson could have, from the first Doctor Strange, the first Doctor Strange movie is one of my favorite Marvel movies because it's so different. I like Sam Raimi stuff, but like going back and watching the original 3 of Spider-Man, you can see how dated some of them are. So I'm interested to see Sam Raimi and see the techniques that he's picked up. Because he's always been an innovation like that. If you watch his movies, he changes with the times. It looks like he asks for help on certain things. He has a vision, and he's not afraid to share it. And so I'm interested in the Doctor Strange because of that.
you're waiting for him. I'm waiting for another. What's his name? What? I'm gonna butcher this. Watiti.
Oh, Tiki Watiti
Yeah.
from Thor,
Ragnarok.
Love and yeah, and then Love and Thunder.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see what he does with that because I was watching a thing on
When they actually bring back, what's her name?
Yeah.
Natalie Portman.
Yeah, but what I was reading about Ragnarok was, I'm guessing like the, I don't know if it was like the producers or if it was like shareholders or who it was at Disney. Their whole thing was they said they wanted something completely different from the first two because the first two Thor movies they didn't take off.
They were okay, but they were stale at the same time. They were
Yeah.
like, okay, this is Thor, but there's no beauty to Thor.
Yes. And
You
so
know?
he put together a quick kind of I guess montage of some stuff.
Yeah.
And
It's very
when they-
imaginative.
Yeah, when they watched it, they were like, "Go for it. We want to see what you can do."
Yeah.
And Thor Ragnarok,
Some people
was-
don't. It was really surprising to me that some people do not like that.
I loved it.
And they're like, oh, well, I like the Dark World better. The Dark World is very underrated as well, I think. That was Alan Taylor doing that, who is from Game of Thrones. He did some Game of Thrones episodes. But yeah, I think T.D. Wakiki, I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher his name. I've been drinking. But I think he's a visionary. He has a certain style.
Yeah.
And he's not afraid to show it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I think we need in the director. And that's the one good thing about Twitter is when you find these directors, a lot of them interact with each other. You know, like Edgar Wright, Scott Derrickson, Tadi Wakiki, and they'll talk to each other, and you can comment, and they compliment each other.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, "Oh man, this is good," and like, that's what I think should be out there is directors talking to each other and saying, you know, one of my big ideas, and it happens in like Kevin Smith's Askew universe with Jay and Silent Bob, characters all in the movies, and they have bit appearances, and then like in the Marvel universe, and this is a spoiler for things I'm thinking, in the Marvel universe you always have Stan Lee appearing somewhere, you know, and God bless his soul, he's gone, and so we're not going to see him in anything. But I was like, what if they took a character, and they had all these great directors, Spielberg, Scorsese, all these top-notch, and they put a single character in every movie, and you would have to watch all of these movies until it got to you know what I'm saying, down the line, and it made sense. You're like, it's like a final reveal, but you had to watch all these movies to see that story.
Okay, so I have something for you to look into.
Okay.
You've heard of the show Saint Elsewhere?
Yes.
Have you heard of the Saint Elsewhere theory?
Do tell.
So basically, you know, at the end of Saint Elsewhere, the end of the series.
I was too young to watch Saint
Okay.
Elsewhere, so.
So, me too. But
Yeah, I
I've
was
read
gonna
the Saint
say.
Elsewhere theory. But basically, it's a story about
It's a hospital. Yes.
And at the end of it, there is an autistic child,
Yes.
and he's been in like the whole story. But for him, all these stories that have taken place in the series, they're all in his head.
Okay.
None of it's taken place in real life. But there's all these other people who have appeared in the show. And basically, you can link like it's like 10 or 15, maybe 20 different series
Yeah.
to this show, and it's all in his head.
That's
You need to look
pretty
up the
incredible.
Saint. Yeah, you need to look up the Saint Elsewhere theory because I was reading this and I was like, that's crazy. Like if that's
That's brilliant writing to me.
Yeah.
That makes you want to see other things.
Yes.
And that's the whole thing. Is I think if Hollywood wants to be visionary, they should do that and include everybody, not just one or two. Everybody. You got to have the up and coming visionary directors, the old timers up top, including Clint Eastwood, you old cranky butt, who's a brilliant director, but he's a cranky butt.
Yeah.
You know, and you got the people who've come up through it. Spike Lee. You got to have them unite and instead of arguing with each other because they all have brilliant points. And the points are so far off sometimes. It's like, dude, y'all can represent so much more.
Yeah.
You know.
So one last thing I want to leave with.
Okay.
This is my what I've kind of put together in my own head. Yes. So there is a I don't know if it's from the trailer or if it's just concept art from Doctor Strange.
Okay.
But it's Doctor Strange in bindings, and there's two Ultrons, like robots,
Yeah.
on either side, and he's talking to Professor X, or an individual who looks like Professor X.
Okay. In a wheelchair or?
Yeah, like from the
standing?
hover wheelchair.
Okay.
From like the 90s cartoon.
Yeah.
Okay, so then to add to that, they have already confirmed that Deadpool 3 is taking place in the MCU
That's what I
universe.
heard too. Yes.
So it's
And it's
either
gonna be R-rated.
yes. So it's either going to be they're adding it to the MCU, or there's going to be some kind of multiverse hijinks. But I think it's going to be like multiverse hijinks. But Deadpool has already interacted with the X-Men. I mean,
Yes.
a limited amount, but he's interacted with
Yes.
the thing. That is how they're going to bring the X-Men into the MCU.
Any way they do it. You have Kevin Feige has done a good job, and especially recognizing the mistakes. There's been mistakes along the way. There's always going to be mistakes. I think, my opinion, I don't know, it won't happen. You probably didn't watch the series Legion on
No.
FX. Legion is a brilliant, mind-blowing. You got it on Hulu, start watching it.
Okay.
It's brilliant because it brings in, of course, his dad. Legion's dad is Charles Xavier.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They could bring it all apart and use Legion as a freaking pivot point. Because Legion is the son, and he's like Rogue. He can, but instead of touch, he can mimic their powers and take their personalities without realizing it. And they become personalities in his mind. He is that powerful because he's Charles Xavier's freaking mind, you know, and you could create a multiverse with that.
Well, I think what they've established with Spider-Man and with Hawkeye is that any like Marvel property, like a TV show or a movie, you can I would say you can automatically like from this point forward assume
Canon.
it's canon and it's part of the MCU.
Yeah.
Because of the multiverse, because of all this, and so I mean,
And that's where DCU fails.
yes,
Because DCU has brilliant animated films. And they have decent, but they don't try to link them.
yeah.
And that's the whole thing is they have characters and the new gods and stuff, they could link them.
And they have like, I will say that like I kind of moved away from it, but I used to be like a huge Superman fan, and I will say like DC has some amazing stories
Yes.
that they could utilize, and they could do a multiverse kind of deal. But they have amazing stories, and my favorite by far is Superman Red Sun. And if you like haven't
They
read
have
it,
the animated.
and if you haven't seen it, like it's an amazing story. It's an encapsulated story. You don't need to know anything else. You can watch it from beginning to end, and it's just
Yeah.
it's amazing. And they when they did the last Superman movie, they were like, oh, we were using that as kind of a reference. We're using this as a reference, and I was like, oh man, I can't wait. And they did that. And I was like, oh, this is good. And then it's just kind of like they dropped the ball.
Yeah.
They
push for the Batman Superman. They push for the Justice League.
Yes.
And that's the whole thing is, to me, Henry Cavill is a brilliant Superman.
Yes.
Man of Steel is a freaking... People want to shoot down Zack. It's a great Superman movie.
It is.
It is a great... I mean, Christopher Reeve and Richard O'Donnell, they had brilliant freaking Superman movies in the 80s. But this was the next step.
Yeah.
And then they stepped all over it. Warner Brothers stepped on it. Like, bro, we did... And instead of correcting themselves, they just... How many years did it take them to redo Justice League?
Yeah.
But it's like, it shouldn't have been that way.
And I think what their biggest problem is like with Marvel, like you said, Kevin Feige. They put him in charge, and they've kind of, from what I've noticed, they've kind of been like, you're in charge, do your thing.
Yeah.
And he's proven that he can make movies, and he can make these stories that make money, and they are good.
And he lets the writers, the directors, he just pushes them. He goes, how about we do this?
Yeah.
Because you have this as canon, like with Hawkeye. You have Echo, which, is a series that's going to come into Marvel.
Yeah.
You have the Kingpin, which, is going back to the Netflix MCU.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. He's like, well, we can do this. We got this. That's what... And DC drops the ball.
Yeah. I think, honestly, with DC, the problem is I think they may have too many voices and not one singular person going, like, directing the overall, and I just...
So, I'm going to say this, my single point. My favorite person at DC is Jim Lee. Jim Lee is a good artist. Jim Lee is a good writer. But he's a team player, and that's kind of the problem. I think if they would let Jim Lee, or somebody like Jim Lee, be the head, instead of like they got Walter Hamada, they got all these other people who've let stuff happen. Ray Fisher was totally blackballed by them for Cyborg. And then they threw away the Green Lantern stuff that Zack wanted to do. And that's part of their problem is they're not looking big picture. They're looking medium picture.
Yeah. Well, they're looking at individual movies.
Yeah.
Does this one go? No, that didn't work. This one worked? It kind of did,
Exactly. And they need a visionary person. And I think with the Batman, they kind of used Christopher Nolan, because like when Man of Steel came out, Man of Steel was produced by Christopher Nolan. But then afterward, they dropped the ball instead of just saying, hey, we're going to go with this. They're so afraid of numbers.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. I think that's where Sony dropped the ball with Amazing Spider-Man 2, is because Sony was looking at numbers.
Yeah.
Andrew Garfield's a brilliant freaking Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And, we only made $700 million. What do you mean only?
Yeah. They set up, and if I remember correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, but the end of Amazing Spider-Man 2, they set up for...
A 3.
An amazing 3.
Yeah.
Because then they have at the end, they set up for the Sinister Six.
Yes.
Yes. They set up for...
You had Rhino, you had Goblin, you had all of these set up.
And they had they
started with 1. They had the same director for 1 and 2. And he was setting them up. He was doing just what they wanted.
Yeah.
And then Sony stepped on it.
Yeah. And I just... So... The thing I'm worried about because they set up for a 3, but now they're talking about, instead of doing a Sinister Six, they're going to do, like, the Venom story.
Yeah, well, they're talking about the Venom 3 bringing Garfield back into Venom 3.
Yeah.
Which could work. It depends on the director. Venom's, they've had 2 different directors on 2 different movies. They've been mediocre, from what I understand. I haven't seen the second Venom.
I haven't seen either of the Venom movies yet.
The first Venom was okay. Tom Hardy is a good Venom. He's a good Eddie Brock. The problem is you have to have direction. You have 2 different directors, 2 different visions. That's the problem. You got to, whether it fails or not, you got to stick with that vision, because guess what? It could come back.
Yeah.
It could be perfect, but people aren't seeing it at that moment.
Yeah. So, and the one thing I'm waiting for is Morbius, because
we'll see where he fits, because they've teased it with the Spider-Man graffiti.
So the biggest theory right now that I'm seeing is, because at first they were like, which universe does it take place in? So the biggest one that I've seen so far that I agree with is that it takes place in the Amazing Spider-Man universe.
Okay.
So Andrew Garfield.
Yes.
Sorry, spoilers. But in the movie, he talks about how dark he became after he lost Gwen. He was like, I didn't hold back.
That happened in Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, he's like, I didn't hold back. Some things happened. And so the graffiti of Spider-Man and the murderer underneath, they're
Yeah.
thinking like, oh, that's
It
Andrew
fits
Garfield.
into the universe.
Yes. And then you have the Oscorp, which is the same logo from the Amazing Spider-Man.
Yes.
And then they're like, oh, but then you have Vulture. I can't remember who the actor is that played Vulture.
Really? He played Batman. 1989.
Keaton.
Michael Keaton.
Yes,
The
Keaton.
brilliant Michael Keaton.
And they're like, well, he was from the
Homecoming.
Yes, he's from Homecoming. And I'm like, we've got the multiverse.
It could
So,
be the same person.
It could be him, but like a variant.
Yes, exactly.
And so I'm
We've
like,
learned about variants with Loki.
yes. So to me, he's a variant, and this takes place in the Amazing Spider-Man, and this movie, plus this last Spider-Man movie, is setting up Amazing Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, and a Venom 3.
Yes.
You know, which you
Or-
have to have.
Or a combination of the two. It could be a Venom 3 that leads into Amazing Spider-Man 3.
Hopefully, Sony and Marvel keep their working relationship
Yes.
so they can
So-
do that.
We'll
We'll
see. Yeah, it's all up in the air. It's just us, but
Yes. But it gets us hyped up because we're geeks.
Yeah.
I'm a geek.
yes, I'm a geek too.
So-
I'm ready to see all this, like,
See this web slinging and see
Yeah.
all of this.
yeah. So, real quick too.
I gotta pee, so
Okay, so do I. But
Real quick.
but real quick. So, speculation is that we haven't seen the last of Steve Rogers.
I don't think so. I
There
think they'll
could
bring
be
it back.
another movie with Steve Rogers, and not old man Steve Rogers, but a younger Steve
It'll
Rogers.
be
So,
interesting.
yeah. So
We'll see. Chris Evans, are you back?
yeah.